Alright, today we are doing Chapter 5, Section 5, Perimeter and Area, and stuff you've done before, so it should be another kind of easy section, hopefully. But in case you don't know it, it's worth paying attention because there might be a couple new things. So area. I want to start with area, kind of trying to define that, and I'm a little hesitant to use the word space, but I'm going to say it's the space inside a polygon. Space sounds a little bit like volume to me, but area, let me write it down here, space inside a polygon. And a polygon, again, is going to be a multi-sided object that's enclosed. So we're looking at the space inside something like that. So I have this rectangle down here at the bottom. And the area, usually for the area equation, let me switch back to a pen. Area, it'll always be capital A for area because lowercase a is acceleration. So capital A equals lowercase b times lowercase h, because capital B stands for the area of the base. Okay, anyways, I digress. So as you learn these equations, I'm going to ask you to know a lot of them from memory. I'll let you know this is one of the ones you need to be able to write from memory for the test, not the quiz. But this here, make sure you get the capitals and lowercases correct. That's going to matter. So when we're talking about the base, I'm talking the bottom here, kind of what it's sitting on. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space to write a 4 in there. And the height is generally the up and down, so that'll be my h, and I'm going to write a 3. So when we're talking about the area of this thing, well, if we wanted to find it, you could say, well, it's going to be base times height, so I'm going to say base is 4, height is 3, so we know then that the area is 12. But kind of like 12 what? Well, if I were to go through and take this rectangle, and I'm going to put a vertical line right down here, and I'd encourage you to do the same thing on your notes. That cuts it into half. I'm going to cut it into half again. So now you can see that I have this being like 4 lengths long there along the bottom. I'm going to do a similar thing for the height. Hopefully they look like little squares. If I do that for the height, cut this one in half there. So essentially what I'm saying is if I would go through and count up those number of squares, since I have a grid of 3 going one direction, a grid of 4 going the other direction, I should have 12 total. And if I count all those up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 of these little squares, 12 square units. Recording math notes. You can come on in if you want. I'll just keep going. Perimeter is going to be the distance around a polygon. So switch to blue. Distance around a polygon. And so really we're looking at kind of like circumference of a circle, but now we're talking straight edges in a polygon. So it's found by adding the lengths of the sides. Now if we were to have a rectangle, something like this, so this here is really probably the best equation, because then if you were to have a hexagon or an octagon or kind of any weird shape, so there I have a pentagon, 5 sides. If you take the lengths of all those, maybe I have a 3, a 3, a 2, a 4, and a 5, you could go and add all those together to get the perimeter. You could go through and say for a rectangle at least, well, you could say that has to be 5, this has to be 2, right? So to find the perimeter, you could do 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. I kind of feel like I should give you the equation that the book does. This is usually one that I don't ask, because honestly, when I'm getting the perimeter, I'll just add those together. But sometimes I'll go through and do the shortcut. I'll do this in my head. And that if you were to have a rectangle, you could say the perimeter is going to be 2 times the base, because 5 plus 5 is the same as 2 times 5, plus 2 times the height, because 2 plus 2 is the same as 2 times 2. So you could use this formula here. That's usually not one of the top ones that I pick for you to know from memory, but it is definitely a possibility. So be ready for that. I should go back in my notes and add 2 things. So here where we have perimeter, I'm going to put a capital P in parentheses to show that that's the abbreviation for perimeter. And similar sort of thing here for area. Area, I'm going to put a capital A. But that should wrap up the notes for today. Sometimes we'll go through, I guess I could finish this off, but so if you wanted the perimeter, you could say 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5, which gives me 14. Or if you wanted to use the equation, you could say, well, 2 times the base, which is 2 times 5, plus 2 times the height, which is 2 times 2, and then you'd have 10 plus 4, which gives you 14. So either way you get 14. I like rocking it old school typically on these, but choice is totally up to you. That's it. Let me know if you have questions.